So with the breath work, until people are really used to it, the really in-depth breath work, which is a very intense physical experience. Not there's relaxing breath work, which is just to still the mind, to be peaceful, to get relaxation, more what people think about kind of as part of sometimes like traditional yoga. Then there's more of what I call, as a layperson, but therapeutic breath work, which is kind of a very intense experience.
Yeah.
I know for some people it's hard to get to that experience if they haven't done it a lot without guidance, without someone who's kind of walking either them individually or as a group through. How would you recommend people kind of adventure into that, or if they have done it in the past but they have trouble getting it started on their own, what would you recommend?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because breath work is a very broad term. Anything you do with your breath can be considered breath work. And so it sounds so simple, but sometimes we forget that we're breathing and we forget to take deep breaths. I always say take 3 deep breaths during the day several times. And
Mm-hmm.
that's breath work. And what this does is it brings you back into the present moment. It regulates your nervous system. And so sometimes you're here in your mind, especially like when we're working and we might get a little stressed,
Mm-hmm.
overwhelmed with stuff that we have to do. Just take a minute, 3 deep breaths. That's your breath work right there. You don't need guidance. It's just, you don't need to pay for anything. It's just easy and accessible
Yeah.
anytime or as many times as you want.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously, if you want to go a little deeper, there are different types of breath work that you can do, even mixing with meditation. And so, if anybody's interested in doing this, they can actually just look it up on YouTube, like different techniques, because
Mm-hmm.
they're very simple. And once you learn how to do them and you feel them in your body,
Mm-hmm.
you can do it. You can go on and do it on your own. Though the one that I do, the sessions that I offer, I actually advise to find the guidance, to find either a group or a one-on-one, because it's not that the technique itself is difficult, it's not, but what
Mm-hmm.
happens in your system, what happens in your body, what happens in your mind can be a little bit scary sometimes. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like you don't.
Or you just want to stop and you're into it for 5 minutes and you're like,
Yeah,
I don't feel like doing this. I mean, I know if when I've done it, like your whole body's like, this feels awkward or weird or uncomfortable, or this is
yeah.
silly, or like I just don't want to do it. And if you don't have sort of either a group to encourage you or a leader or teacher to encourage
Kind of
you,
like a
then
personal trainer,
it
the
is. It's
personal
very
trainer is like,
much.
come on, keep going. And you're like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yes, no, it's so true. But when I continue and come out the other side, it feels absolutely phenomenal. It's
Yeah.
like your whole inner being has had a wonderful shower and you're re-energized and you just feel it's tremendous. Yeah, really
Yeah.
tremendous.
And I
So,
think it's important to feel safe,
mhm.
to
Yeah.
feel safe to go deep.
Hmm.
Um, and then it's great when you find somebody that can hold space for you and
Hmm.
can go deeper with you.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Um, and then I guess the second question, which I already alluded to, but was, if someone doesn't find them feel like they're very spiritual, maybe they just feel extremely practical, maybe that's just their personality or what they prefer, or, um, you know, how can how can they utilize some of these techniques even if they're not making it part of a spiritual practice, and but in a way that can help and heal?
Yeah. Sometimes we can just change the words and not use
Yeah.
the spiritual, because I always say, like, when we're talking about emotions, what is emotion? We don't see them, right?
Right.
We feel them. And
Yeah.
like I said, emotion is an energy in
Hmm.
motion. So when we're talking about spirituality, we're also not seeing anything. Well, some people
Hmm.
see, but essentially it's just a belief. It's just something that you feel. It's just something that
Hmm.
you know. So, and the breath is the same thing because in Latin, breath means a spirit.
Hmm.
And the way I see it is we don't see air. Like we don't know exactly what we're breathing, but we
Right.
just believe it. We
Right.
just believe it. We're just it's like something that is happening all the time, even when we are asleep or unconscious.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so, if anybody is skeptical about the word spiritual, or they don't necessarily feel like they are spiritual, they can
Hmm.
just say, I'm going to deal with my emotions. I'm going to
Hmm.
look at them and I'm going to take
Hmm.
care of them. And the breath is really nothing spiritual. It's like, it is a spiritual and it's also very,
Right. Right.
right?
Well, I think there's a lot of interdefinition there, and I think that actually can clearly open paths for some people in both directions, really, because um, so much is just the the linguistics, the definitions, and how we all perceive things differently. So, what might be a spiritual release for some person could be, just an emotionally release for another. It might even be the same. So it's kind of, I like to try to keep an open mind and just kind of have a feeling for finding what works for me, because I know everything works differently for everyone. It's not one size fits all. Um,
Yeah.
but I think these techniques that you're talking about, whether it's with the breath and meditation, clearing that heart space, getting as we wrap up, let me ask you this. When you're clearing that heart space, you're kind of getting unstuck. What is sort of the objective that you're looking for? Is it for more self-love? Is it for a sense of calm? Is it many things? Or what is sort of what is the desired outcome, I guess?
Yeah. Just touching on what you were saying about it doesn't work for everybody. It's absolutely true. It's like I say this all the time. It's like meditation might not work for you, and that's
Yeah.
okay. You
Yeah.
can find another way to practice mindfulness. You can go for a walk in the park, you can go for a hike, and that can be your spiritual practice,
Mhm.
right? When you're present, you can just breathe for a little bit in the morning. That can be your practice. So I always tell people to keep an open mind and try different things and find what works for you, because like you said, it's not that one thing will work for everybody, otherwise we would know what works for everybody, right?
Right. I know, right? There wouldn't be so
Yeah.
many methods and techniques, right?
Yeah. And so I guess there are many reasons why we work on our hearts and open our hearts. I would say the main thing is to love,
Hmm.
because I think that is like our ultimate purpose here on planet Earth, is to learn, love, and I believe that we are love and light. And so when we love ourselves,
Hmm.
we learn to love ourselves, we can love others, we can love
Hmm.
everything. We essentially, I say that when you're loving yourself, you're loving the whole universe, and
Hmm.
you're literally helping the world to heal. That's
Mm.
something that I always say too. Is like we work on ourselves individually, but we are part of the collective.
Hmm.
So when you open your heart, you give you just emanate light and love. People around you will feel love because that's what you're emanating, and so you're contributing to the healing of the whole world. And
That's
so I would
just
say,
beautiful.
in a nutshell, that's, you just want to open your heart so that you can love yourself and you can love others and you can love your life. And it's related to the work you do as well. You can find joy in life, in this human experience. It is very hard for you to find joy in this whole human experience if you have a heart that's closed and if you're not loving yourself.